All right. Skar Audio, June of, I'm guessing that's 20, CFS 20, like 2020. Skar Audio SDR 18, very affordable. I've seen them as low as 150 shipped online. They're of course out of stock, and the thing probably cost around, I want to say 30 to 35, maybe $40 to make. So it comes with a nice Mega Roll surround, which looks cool. One of the issues on this is that the motor is quite small for an 18, which makes this a good candidate for. It also has a really low FS, like in the 20s, which makes it a good candidate for home theater, and preferably to a sealed box instead of a ported. Mostly because, and I'm not saying you can't put it in a ported box, and not saying that I don't recommend a ported box. It's just the size required in order to reach the VAS, or even anywhere near the VAS, because this one has quite a large VAS. It's going to be very big. So sometimes that actually works out, but then the other side of this, how do I say, turd polish, lipstick on a pig. If you like, say you build a coffee table type of enclosure that's down firing, it's ported, it's the right specs, which I think is like 8 cubic foot on the VAS, and it plays down to 20 hertz. Congratulations. The problem is that you've now spent at least $200 in materials and a whole bunch of labor in order to, facilitate not a great subwoofer. Again, it depends on your expectations for performance. For home theater, I think this is actually a really good option, especially if you're going to do it yourself. Again, I recommend, because the FS is so low, you shouldn't have any real problems putting it in a sealed box. Your roll-off is going to be a little bit higher than probably what you want, but the cool thing is you can fix it, especially with it, like one of those young amplifiers that comes with a built-in bass boost in the 20s or 30s. That should provide you really good performance, especially for the price. Again, the cost on those things, I remember when they were going on sale for like $100 to $150, and Parts Express seems to be selling them for more. So make sure you go onto AliExpress, and sometimes you can do a quote-unquote sample, or see if you can get something that's not that you really need Class D for home, but it's lighter, and a lot of times they'll use, like, I don't want to say they'll use a switching power supply, because I think that's actually more expensive. The good thing about a switching power supply is that it's much lighter than say a linear type with a large core and a lot of copper. So it might, at this point in time, it actually might be cheaper to get a Class D amplifier with a switching power supply, and is optimized for 4 ohm, which would be great, because this one is the dual 2. You wire the coils in series, maximum BL, and then you run it at 4 ohm. So, but as far as the performance of the woofer, you can't really beat it for the price. Again, they were selling these for about 150 shipped. Typical street price actually was right around 200 shipped. I actually got burned on this one. And yes, I still get burned, and yes, I still buy stuff off of OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. I think this guy was on OfferUp. He only had 1 review, but he had like 5 stars or whatever. And I met him, and of course, when I said, is it blown? He's like, the way he answered the question, he's like, I never hooked it up. And so we just kind of stared at each other, and I was like, okay. It was $110, which was a really, really good deal, and now I understand why, because it was blown. It was fried when I got home. I texted him, and I was like, hey, if you can take responsibility for this, that would be great. Like, I wouldn't mind if you came in and worked it off, or, gave me some trade or something else, but this thing's blown. So, and of course, he doesn't answer back. And again, I'm not that I'm pissed, but that's what you get whenever you don't test stuff, when you're buying it from people on, and we literally met at a shitty gas station in Phoenix. But it was funny, because he was like, he was a fan. He like knew me, and he's like, I had one of your subs when I was 18. It was really good. And he was like, I think that was all just butter. He was just buttering up my butthole. And but yeah, I still get burned. I got a couple other good deals that I got the other day, and of course it compensates for it. And of course I will turn lemons into lemonade. And so I wanted to point out a couple things doing a small review on this woofer, which was that this spider is on the big side. It's quite large in diameter. In fact, it's about 8.5 is what I'm guessing at. I don't have a ruler around. It's almost 9 inches, which is way too big, especially for the coil. The coil uses a standard 2 3/8, same as the SDR12 that I had reviewed about a month ago. And it uses the same motor. And so what I'll do is I'll probably turn it into a 10 or 12 that's nice and beefy, and then sell it for about $150 as a custom quote-unquote woofer, and I'll make somebody happy. Now, what's really great about this frame is because it has an 8.5 inch spider, and it's also a steel frame, which some people don't like steel frames. I like them for certain applications when the motor isn't super light or super heavy. And so for home theater, this actually is really good. Also for PA. I still use a lot of steel frames for my PA clients. They don't need, like for them, 500 watts RMS or even 700 watts RMS is quite a lot, especially when I can give them like 1.5 inches or like a full inch linear excursion, because you're not going to get that out of a PA driver. And so that's what I may use it for, especially on a 3-inch coil with a 8.5 inch spider, 3-inch coil. You're going to get up to 2.5, peak to peak or whatever. X mechanical excursion. It's also got the spring terminals, which is fine. It's great for me. And then I haven't looked at the bolt pattern, but I'm sure it probably uses a pretty standard bolt pattern. It looks like the 5-inch pattern, which is 127 millimeter in Chinesium. And let's see. Yeah, there's that. 600 watts, RMS. Oh, this was the dual 4. Okay. So I might measure that gap too to see if I'll probably end up making it a single 2, because I'm out of the dual 4 coils. I only have the dual 2. And so if the gap is on the small side, which is what happens when it's a dual 4, because the outer diameter of the coil is slightly smaller, what I'll do is I'll just take off 2 layers on the coil, and then it'll fit in there, and it'll be single 2 of them. Not a big deal. And then I'll probably, do like a 4-spoke frame or something like that. Let me see real quick. This is an old sundown frame that I've drilled out. Yep, 127 millimeter. So, and I like how shallow that is too. So that'll be a nice, good sub for somebody's truck or something like that. Single 2 ohm, and then match it up with like a little, like those Recoil 2 ohm amplifiers, 600 watts RMS. This is 600 watts RMS, whatever. It's kind of a give and take, but that'll be a good combo. But that, my friends, is how you turn lemons into lemonade, even when you get burned. So, and of course I'd have nothing to complain about. But it's a good lesson to me. And it was funny, the next week when I was still out there hunting for deals, and I find good deals, and people send them to me all the time. Thank you very much for that. But what I did was I took one of the little sealed lead acid batteries that I have. By the way, they're only $10 each or $15 each shipped. They're 8 amp hour sealed lead acid batteries. They're great. I took one in my trunk and just used it to test amplifiers real quick. And I had my little Rockford OSC2 for signal, and then a bookshelf speaker that I used for the output. And I was able to buy some amps for really cheap. I think it was one of those Majestic MA 5000Ds, which I think I remember reviewing. I'll have to look back on the videos. It's the same amplifier as the Lightning Audio LA 3000D or MD, if I remember right, which of course is made by the same factory that makes for Hyphonics. And you can tell because it uses the 2 maxi fuses in parallel, which was 270 amp fuses. So, but I have that posted up on OfferUp. You guys can subscribe to my OfferUp if you want to see deals there that are ready to go. If not, you can always text me direct, 602-312-6504. Please don't call, mostly because I'm too polite to say no, and I don't want to be rude to you, but I really don't have time for phone calls. I think that was it. That was all that I wanted to do on the review for this guy. So, but yeah, check out the pricing on a lot of the Skar pricing for the SDR. This is the same motor that they use on the Audio Legion Armada series, And so look at the pricing. I think all the Armada subs are gone except for maybe the 15s. And then I think Audio Legion still has some of the Gladiator 15s, which are fantastic, by the way. And they're only $100 shipped. I recommend buying 2 or 3 and then reselling the others to help pay for yours. So that way you get a free sub. Yeah, pretty common. And I think, yeah, the one that I showed on Instagram for Recoil, they're bringing them in, and I think they're using this motor as well. So, which is pretty common. I like that it's 1.5 inches, which is kind of looks cool that it's one thing. And this one didn't come with a boot, but I think the motor naturally comes with a boot. The other good thing I got was the box that it ships in, which was like a double wall box, which that's one thing I share with Steve Mead, is that I love car audio boxes because they're usually really well built, and then I use them and rebadge them to ship out stuff. I don't want to throw them away. Also, when you've paid $5, $6, $7 per box, you don't want to throw any boxes away because that's money you're throwing away. But anyways, I'll end it here, and then I'll do some more short videos of projects that I have here in the shop. Love you.